power never begins with force. It begins with an idea. And for the United States, that idea was freedom. In the late 18th century, a group of colonies on the edge of the Atlantic dared to challenge one of the mightiest empires in history, the British Crown. They were poor, divided, and inexperienced. Yet, out of rebellion was born a new nation, one that promised liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness. But history has a way of testing every promise. The young nation would soon find that the dream of freedom is far more complicated than the act of rebellion itself. Through civil war and bloodshed, America redefined itself, no longer a fragile experiment, but a United States determined to survive. The Civil War of the 1860s was not just a battle over territory or governance. It was a war for the soul of the nation, to decide whether freedom truly belonged to all. When the smoke cleared, the United States emerged scarred, but stronger. In the ashes of its own conflict, it began to build industries, cities, and a new identity, one of innovation, expansion, and ambition. By the dawn of the 20th century, America was no longer just another country. It had become an idea that inspired millions and a power that frightened empires. 2 world wars would soon shake the earth, and with them, the destiny of the United States. In World War I, it entered late, but decisive, tipping the balance in favor of the Allies. In World War II, it entered as a regional force, and emerged as the most powerful nation the world had ever seen. When the bombs fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the world understood something new: the age of American power had begun. And for the first time in human history, one nation held in its hands the capacity to destroy or protect the entire world. Power is not only measured in armies. It is measured in currency. After the Second World War, the US dollar became more than a national currency, it became the world's financial heartbeat. At the Bretton Woods Conference in 1944, nations agreed to tie their currencies to the dollar, and the dollar to gold. It was a quiet, almost invisible revolution, a penstroke that crowned the United States as the global banker. From that moment, American prosperity was no longer confined by borders. Every trade, every loan, every oil deal in the decades that followed would, in one way or another, pass through the American system. Wall Street became the new empire, and its skyscrapers were symbols of modern dominance. Through the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, America's influence stretched into the economies of Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. When nations struggled, the US offered aid, but with aid came influence. When currencies failed, the dollar stood firm and the world leaned on it. By the late 20th century, the phrase "in God we trust" had taken on a new meaning. Because for many nations, it was not faith in God that stabilized their economies, it was faith in the dollar. And yet, this power came at a cost. Economic control breeds resentment. Every nation that depends on another for its financial survival is, in some form, no longer fully free. The United States became the guardian of global stability, and also the face of global inequality. No empire has ever ruled without force. And the United States is no exception. After World War II, it built the largest military machine the world had ever seen. From the ashes of Europe to the jungles of Asia, American presence was everywhere: bases, fleets, soldiers, satellites. It was not just defense. It was deterrence. The idea that no one would dare challenge a nation capable of destroying the world multiple times over. During the Cold War, this power was tested. 2 giants, the United States and the Soviet Union, stood face to face, divided by ideology but equal in strength. For nearly half a century, humanity lived under the shadow of nuclear annihilation. But when the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, and the Soviet Union dissolved, the United States stood alone. The last superpower. The victor of the ideological war. Yet victory did not bring peace. New enemies rose, not nations, but networks, not armies, but ideas. From Vietnam to Iraq, from Afghanistan to Syria, America found itself fighting wars that could not be won with bombs alone. Each conflict left behind questions about justice, about morality, about the true meaning of defending freedom. The US military remained unmatched. But the world began to see that power, even when absolute, cannot guarantee peace. It can only maintain order, until that order is questioned. There is a quieter kind of dominance, one that does not need guns or money. It lives in stories, songs, and dreams. While other nations built armies, America built a culture. Hollywood became the new battlefield. Its weapons, cinema, television, music, and technology. Through movies, the world saw not just entertainment, but ideals, freedom, love, courage, individualism. Through its universities, the U.S. educated leaders from around the globe. Through its brands Apple, Coca-Cola, Nike, it sold not just products, but identity. And then came the internet, a digital revolution born on American soil. From Silicon Valley emerged the platforms that would shape how the world thinks, speaks, and connects. Facebook, Google, Twitter, Netflix. In this new battlefield, America no longer needed soldiers. It had algorithms. It had influence over hearts and minds, the kind that no government could resist and no border could block. But influence, like all forms of power, is fragile. The same internet that spread American culture also spread criticism of it. The same technology that connected the world also divided it. And as nations grew stronger, China, Russia, India, and others, they began to question the idea that one nation should define the global narrative. Every empire, no matter how mighty, must eventually face the same question: how long can one nation stand at the top? To be a world power is to carry a burden, the weight of leadership, the fear of decline, the cost of maintaining dominance. For America, that burden grows heavier each year. Its economy faces rivals. Its politics divide its people. Its military stretches thin. Its moral authority is questioned by allies and enemies alike. Being the world's leader means solving global problems even when they are not yours. It means sending soldiers to die in deserts far from home. It means being blamed for conflicts you tried to stop and for those you failed to prevent. It means living in a world that expects you to fix everything, and hates you when you do. But perhaps the greatest cost is internal. For in the pursuit of global power, the soul of a nation can fade. What began as an idea of liberty, equality, and freedom for all risks being replaced by ambition, wealth, and control. And yet, the story of the United States is not over. Its people remain creative, resilient, and hopeful. The dream that built America still burns even if the world now questions its light. Power, after all, is never permanent. It is borrowed from history, from circumstance, from the choices a nation makes. And when the next chapter is written, whether by America or another, the question will remain the same: what does it truly mean to be a world power? Is it the ability to rule, or the wisdom to lead? Because in the end, greatness is not measured by how many nations you control, but by how many lives you inspire.